Alright. This is a deck that's a good reminder that Magic is a high skill, low variance game and in no way represents gambling. We have Winota here, Joiner of Forces. When you attack with a non-human creature, look at the top 6 cards of your library and put a human from among them onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking. So what are we looking to do? We've got Legion Warboss, Fblthp, a couple of Spectral Sailors, some Bonecrusher Giants here as our non-human forces, and then Winota is looking to grab Elite Guardmages, Charming Princes, and Agent of Treacheries, most ultimately at the top end of our curve, to snag things from the opponent. This deck's kind of a neat mashup of aggressive, but also kind of go over the top. We're kind of using Winota as like this huge ramp spell slash beatdown creature, and like the 4/4 stat line for 4 is like also pretty okay. Agent of Treachery is kind of novel as one of your hits because it lets you kind of punch through things that would normally be bigger blockers, which is nice. Yeah, I've seen some other versions playing Haktos as well. This build is aiming to be a little bit more mid-rangey and slightly less aggressive because we've got Guardmage, Lukka, and Thassa for value, so we're not quite as punchy. This one's kind of landed somewhere in the middle. How funny is it, by the way, that like where Magic's at in recent years, that like we describe the Agent of Treachery deck as being somewhere in the middle? The Lost Lurgoyf, thanks for the 22 months. Welcome back. Weekend stream hype indeed. Alright, opponent is playing Yuri-on, the Sky Nomad here. The most common Yuri-on deck we've seen going around is Elementals. If we curve out lands here and get to go Warboss into Winota, we'll be in a very good spot. The age of big range decks. That's a good way to put it. A big range deck. I feel like that's an apt summary. You already see all our colors from this, so I'm just going to go ahead and fetch here. Alright, so we got 2 shots and an untapped land here. You have a 5 mana 4/5 flyer. That is not the untapped land I wanted for Christmas. Would you like to block? Sorry, 4 breaking 4/5 flyer. Sorry, right. You love to see it, chat. Triggers. Wheel of Fortune! Yep, sounds about right. That was about currently living up to expectations. Performing at or about expectations. The rest of these go on the bottom, right? Obviously, bottom in a random order. Deal Arena. It's fine. Next turn, dopamine levels at expected values. Right on time, Agent of Treachery. Wouldn't have it any other way, Agent of Treachery. Welcome to the party. Thanks for dropping in. Thanks, Android. Yeah, set release hype is real. God bless America, my country. 'Tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. All right, 18 shots. 18 looks at 2 other agents, chat. Scry 2. I need the extra looks. All right, we did it. Nailed it. That one, please. Whew! Hey, Dizzle. Thanks for the 3rd of the year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. I mean, they have a guaranteed 5-drop, right? Grab some disputes here. I guess Bonecrusher Giant's useful at killing... Bonecrusher is useful for killing Risen Reef. Seems reasonable. Or would I rather just have Dispute? Is Dispute the natural cut? Or is Bonecrush natural? Because Dispute is going to counter those things too. This leaves me only 9 creatures to hit. That's probably not good enough. Thassa doesn't do either, technically. Yeah, Bonecrusher is an enabler. Without the Bonecrusher is 8. Yeah. Need 2 more trims here. Yeah, Thassa out seems like a fine trim. And trim around the edges. Trim 1 Lukka, 1 Crusher. Sometimes the choices are easy, chat. Sometimes you gotta stew on them. Other times, not so much. My point stands. I mean, we did say that this deck was going to remind us that Magic is a low variance game. Woo! That's a good one. That's a good one. Don't need a lot of cards. Just need the right cards. No wonder there were no lands in the first hand. They were all in the second hand. And this shock is actually kind of sweet here, because if they don't give us something worth disputing, we get to cycle the Triome, and it's just like, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. It's like, we get to either use this and have it be great that we shocked, or we get to cycle this and then like have it be super concealed that we actually have the dispute. Hopefully it's like jam a 5-drop, and then we like untap Winota, attack trigger. Up to 4 cards in their bin. Dispute's looking a little awkward here. We get to start spinning this at least. Good chance we miss here, right? A little Elite Guardmage at least. And so we already had 2 Guardmages out of our deck, so there were only 10 hits. And Charming Prince is like a hit. 1 card short of Escaping Arrow. Well, one of the things that's kind of cute about this deck that we're playing is, like, when you flood out a little bit, you have Agent of Treachery to draw into, because you can just, like, cast your bombs, which is nice. They're gonna get to put Uro into play this turn, which is gonna be pretty difficult to keep up with. Need to find, like, 7th land agent ASAP. That doesn't actually accomplish anything, because she only triggers when non-creatures attack. Okay, that's helpful down the line. Unfortunately, I cannot dispute that. Maybe I'm just supposed to double dispute that and trade 2 for 1 at this point. They have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana, so like I can't even double dispute Yuri-on. It's coming up soon. Can't double dispute that one. That one also doesn't do anything for them at the moment, though. If they blink Uro, it dies, so they're going to decline here. Yeah. Fetch now, so that way, after we scry, we don't lose the scry. Oh, Thassa just gets to tap down all of our stuff now. Yeah. We might be able to get them if they mess up, but it feels like this game has mostly slipped away at this point with the Uro going. Like, maybe they cast a spell here and we dispute it. Okay. So they pay for this. They need to look at 5 cards. I mean, like, that's all they got, right? So, like, so we could win this game now. We just need to high roll a couple agents. We high roll an agent, we get to grab their Thassa too. Seems pretty good. Yeah, we get 12 looks at agents. And we bottomed non-agent earlier. Alright, this is an extra look. Alright. Spin to win. Survey says, peak dopamine, chat. Peak dopamine. Woo! You love to see it, chat. You love to see it. Yeah, sure. Oh, man. Oh, man. We're still gonna lose, chat. We were so lucky. I thought we were so lucky. Well, you know, we laughed, we cried. I guess this game's not over yet, huh? This draw's excellent. Oh, yeah. The turn 12 dispute. It does matter because I want this to come back before this blinks so I can do this and I'll get another card at the end of their turn. It's exactly what we want it. I'm just sharing this because Twitch tells me every time I hop on. No worries, Titan. Thanks for the 2 months. Welcome back. Scry 2 would dig deeper than a draw 1. Think it's worth it. No, I think my life total is relevant here. Especially because they're like an Omnath deck with blinks and stuff. We have 1 agent on the bottom, I believe. We had 1 double agent trigger. Been a heck of a game, huh? Good solid swings on both sides. They miss getting back their Thassa. Non-land permanents you own and control. You own and control. You own and control. They did not miss getting their Thassa back. Was this the Mold of 5 game? Yeah, I think it was, right? Alright, chat. Spin to win. Oh, never lucky. Never lucky, chat. Never lucky. It is at least a non-human for the Winota. That is true. Lukka can't Lukka himself unless you have Sarkhan paired with him. So I know we Lukka'd himself the other day a couple of times. That's because Sarkin was with him.
I know who I am, and no one is telling me what to do.
No one is telling me what to do. Chandra, you in control. And hey, chat, we get to take game 3 on the play, you know? We get to take game 3 on the play. It's a heck of a first, heck of a ride to start on here. Great. I think I'm happy with how I boarded. Maybe I want some Aether Gust. How do we feel? Do we prefer Aether Gust or do we prefer Dispute? Do I want Gust over Lukka maybe? Lukka's a little slow. I feel like going big favors them. Let me think of this. I'm gonna do this. I mulligan, no Winota in the opener on that last one. This doesn't have an enabler for Winota, but I got 2 Scries on the Priest, so I think we keep. I have a Dispute as a little bit of interaction. So we need lands, and we need an enabler for Winota. If that's not Pico Glandia, I don't know what is, honestly. The old hoping to draw a land, draw a 7-drop. Should have just gained 3 life, chat. Should have just believed in the top of my deck. Yikes. All right. Little bit of awkwardness here. Yeah, like not only are we missing, like I bought him some lands, so like the number of lands is like whatever. Not having an enabler for Winota, kind of that like pretty supreme wrong half problem feeling. And I think we just play her out here because it puts lethal in play, and by that I mean it gets cleared by Storm's Wrath. But I think this is ideal. I don't have a counter spell anymore to hold up. I think I'm supposed to put her out so that way, should we draw like a Legion Warboss, we can get triggers off of her. I mean, we have another game plan if we don't draw Winota. It's just like our deck's just been clunky. Or even like we mulligan this game and just haven't had any of our low pressure. It's basically the TLDR. I'm just bottoming her. We're gonna look for lands at this point since we have these 2 dorks. Yeah, and like I said, like this is something we talked about earlier, right? Like when the rest of your deck and the game goes long, it's like, all right, I can randomly flood out an Agent of Treachery. And these Kiki Jikis are super castable, okay? I'd like the record to reflect these Kiki Jikis look super castable. Interesting sequencing there with the Cavalier before. The deck is determined for us to have her, so we'll take it. Close set. This feels like it's probably one of those like 2 or 10 decks. Either it's like super impressive and we do the thing, or you just kind of flop around and die. Legion, I guess that's Legion Warboss probably has the potential to steal some games without comboing. Yeah, sounds good. Just draw some lands. Grab a white source here. Mardu land. That's exciting. Wonder what they're doing. Maybe they got some snap decks going on over there. All right, this is the nut draw, right? If we just draw some lands here. If we get another untapped land in our next 2 draws, this is our nut draw. Limited wildcards. Are you recommending any new decks on your website as tier 1? I never recommend decks on my website as tier 1. I would like to make it abundantly clear that the decks on my website are decks that I find fun, that seem interesting. Something that I cannot stress enough. When a new set comes out, you are forced to choose between being conservative and knowing what decks are good and taking a risk with your wild cards. That's just the reality of it. And like as last season showed, a lot of, I don't know how many standard decks I'm gonna put up on my website this season, just because last season we put a bunch of standard decks up there, and then like I genuinely feel by the end of the season last season, like almost nothing on my website was still competitive. Like the format was so hostile to tier 2 deck lists, it felt like last season, that by the end of it, I felt like none of them were very reasonable. I actually added a disclaimer up there that none of them felt very competitive. Man, listen, chat, I don't know about tier 1, but if you're just like, if you're feeling kind of numb and you just like really need to feel something, this deck will make you feel things. If you just need some type of emotion to be elicited from you, this deck has all the emotion that you're gonna need in a match of Magic. I was just numb before this deck, and now I'm happy or I'm angry. There's no in between. This deck always takes someone for a ride. Sometimes it's you, sometimes it's them. Well, this deck's like the opposite of that, Hangman. This deck's gonna make you feel something. You might not always like what it makes you feel, but it's gonna make you feel something. Yeah, I think we're actually gonna win this game, right? Like, unless their hand is like a bunch of removal spells, we got this Sailor looking like we're in a pretty good spot. Spin to win, chat. Spin to win. Alright, so they're playing like human stuff. Redcap kills Tajik. Probably a hero deck, I would imagine. I think I want to cut the Lukkas and the Thassa at the top end of my curve. Just pull down a little bit. Do we think this is an Aether Gust matchup? And if so, what do I want to trim for it? I feel like it's not. I feel like I have enough cards in my deck right now, and I don't really want to trim anything to fit Aether Gust in. Like, I've got Dragonfire, Redcap, and Bonecrusher's interaction. Is Lukka any good? He seems slow. Well, he's not good against aggressive decks. That's the point. Lukka's not an aggressive card, Woomba. So Lukka is a card that exists to generate card advantage in games that go long. It's a card that gives you staying power in the mid to late game. And because this deck is going up to Agent of Treachery, if you pair Agent of Treachery with some other mid to late game cards, this deck's not just dead once the first few turns of Burst is over. Is it possible I'm supposed to mulligan this just because it has Agent and no Winota? I feel like that's reasonable. Yeah, maybe rad. I don't know that I really have room for it in the sideboard, though. I think it's pretty good. Just looking for a white source. I am Zen, chat. Find your inner Zen, chat. Channel it. Channel your inner Zen. Sometimes people ask how you avoid getting tilted playing so much Magic all the time. My secret, chat? I'm always tilted. I don't think I want to trade Warboss for Judith here with the Scorching Dragonfire in hand. Mutate is very quickly becoming my favorite mechanic ever. It is very, very quickly becoming my favorite Magic mechanic. It seems relatively competitive at a glance, too. Mutate's like an onion, chat. There's a lot of layers within it. You see what I did there? Because mutate utilizes magic layers to set power and toughness and stuff. Can we fire? I have children, I can make that joke. Is there a big green men deck in the queue? Asking the real questions. Yeah, I agree, Sniper Wave. Like, a lot of people, like, have enjoyed complaining a whole heck of a lot about, have complained a whole heck of a lot about recent Magic designs. And I think they've not given Wizards anywhere near enough credit with how good of mechanics things like Adventure are. Like, it's very easy to lose Adventure in the weeds of Eldraine that was like Embercleave and Oko. But like, that's really good thing to point out, honestly, that like, they just had back-to-back excellent good mechanics in both Adventure and then now Mutate. Not including Escape. I think Escape's a fine mechanic. I just don't think it's particularly novel or interesting. Escape's just like variation number 637 on Flashback, right? I don't count Escape as being particularly novel. I just trade here, right? And I'm going to take one of their things next turn. Yes, Escape is fine. It's just not... Wait, what? What happened? I'm dumb. Alright, shh. I knew that. I knew what was happening. I'm awake. Need, like, another agent here. Well, this means we're not dead yet, right? I don't have black mana, so I can't use that. We give Taijik first strike. That's a good observation. Alright, you know. Fine. We get to be on play for game 3, right? Yeah, that seems fine. As long as it has Shark Typhoon. Believe me, there's going to be plenty of Shark Typhoons. 3-0 Assault-Type Control. Nice part, man. I think the Assault-Type Control like we played last night has a lot of potential. Felt very, very reasonable. I think being able to play Cry of the Canarium and counter spells covers a lot of things you want to cover at the moment. Alright, do I stomp this, or do I just Winota? I think I just stomp this. This is the conservative play. Their removal spell takes black mana, right? So I should just do this. They could have a Fry here. You love to see it, chat. You love to see it. All right, do they have the Black Exile spell or not? They do not. Okie doke. Alright, so I'm gonna scry 2 twice if we don't find an agent. I'm just gonna dig as deep as humanly possible for a copy of Agent of Treachery here. Would we rather have Chandra 3 over Lukka? How do we feel about that, chat? Would we rather have Chandra 3 over Lukka. It's another threat that's like comparable to Warboss on. She makes 2. Let's try that. I'm gonna fit a couple of Lukkas in the sideboard. Cut the negate. Alright, let's try that. I think Agent in the opener and no Winota is an easy mulligan most of the time. Okay, Chandra. Chandra looking much better than Lukka would be here, right? If we could find an untapped land for turn 3. Man, this deck probably has an unwinnable flash matchup, huh? I guess maybe we can get under them sometimes. And we do have disputes. Maybe we have some play there. Our combo game plan is not good against flash. That's for sure. Well then. No, Flash BD supposed to. I can see that. We have Gust and Dispute both go a long way. Probably cut Agents in this matchup. Hey, Hutch. Thank you for the Branding Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome to Hoaglandia. Pretty good one wherever you are. Hey, I'm just going to pack this one in. I think we're probably pretty dead here on the draw with, we'll have them counterspell this, and then we'll... We have both Gust and Dispute here. Trim Chandra. Do we just cut all the agents here? Actually, I probably cut Thassa's first, right? What do you think? What do you think of this plan? I could bring in Scorching Dragonfire over Agent, or I could bring in some Redcap Melees. I kind of don't hate just having a bunch of removal. What if I cut the Agents and the Sailors and brought in Redcaps and Dragonfires? Just like try to be interactive. Just like be kind of a tempo deck back. Just like cheap-ish threats and removal spells. I kind of like that plan. Let's try it. What's going on, Crazy Cat Man? Looks like we're going to have plenty more Magic coming up yet today. We're still at 2,400 people, so I'm going to add at least one more deck on today. After Mardu Knights, we have Yuri-on Enigmatic. It's going to get added onto the docket. Sure. I'm supposed to shock that, just to shock their face here. There could also be merit to just jamming. Just jamming this, but getting the stop value here is good too, which is great. Works out really well for us. Untapped land there would have been ideal. Beggars won't be choosers, though. Would love to scry too. Thanks. Digging for some lands. How do you feel about Legion Warboss? I kind of think I'm into it. I think I'm into it. Definitely want the land next turn first, but definitely into the Warboss. I think I let this just happen. I think I'd rather save the dispute to fight over a counterspell. I have multiple ways to kill this. If they attack, we'll just trade. Yeah, not surprised to see them not trade. When we do try to kill this, we'll fight over it on their turn, so that way when they counter, it doesn't get bigger, just in case they have a few different counters. We'll lead on the Scorching Dragonfire, because I prefer this resolve. Sure. Well, that's unfortunate. I always get got when they put good cards in their flash deck. Those MPL players really figured it out. Jammed a bunch of good cards in their otherwise bad deck. Made it a lot better. Yeah, I agree. It's not a super unpopular opinion around these parts. I know a lot of people at sub here feel a lot of the same ways I do, but I think it was a mistake to ban Oko and leave Nissa legal. I think if they were only going to ban one of the two, I'd much rather they would have banned Nissa. I also dislike Teferi more than Oko. It's a pretty low bar though. Teferi's a pretty offensive design in my opinion. Prison effects like that should be symmetrical. And like even when they're symmetrical, they're kind of a stain. On bottom that, we have plenty of enablers. I don't know that we necessarily need removal. Esper? What? Nah, I think that's pretty popular. That like the two worst walkers out of war are the one-sided prison walkers. Main deck Cry. Rude. It's a good thing my Legion has plenty of bosses. Probably not hero with main deck Cry. Beacon 2, probably some kind of control deck. I think main deck Cry is excellent right now for reference. We played main deck Cry in the Sultai deck last night. Yeah, it looks like 4-color Planeswalkers. For building a Yuri-on mana base, I maintain the land spell ratio of a normal deck, but for 80 cards, we should add a few more lands to ensure hitting land drops each turn. Can I ask why you think you need to add more lands to ensure hitting more land drops? Because again, the number of lands doesn't matter. The first thing you said is correct. The proportions are what matter. Proportions are always what matter when you're scaling things. You don't just do more because it's bigger. That being said, adding more lands probably isn't a terrible idea because most people don't play enough lands in their deck. Because you're guaranteed a 5-drop. I mean, like, if you're guaranteed a 5-drop in a 60-card deck, though, the proportions are still the same, Mr. Bips. So, like, that's not adjusting because you have an 80-card deck. So, yeah, the people that are saying that, that's not related. So, like, it's like, if you go from Kruga to Yuri-on, for example, all of the decks still listed in my stream title are decks that are upcoming later today. As we play decks, I remove them. The decks in the stream title, generally speaking, are the order in which we plan to play them too. Unless someone cuts in with a big donation. The fact that these slide in the other direction than they used to really gets me. I think I'm supposed to kill Narset here because my deck does contain a variety of things that draw cards when they come into play. So I think taking her all the way to 0 as opposed to just knocking her to 1 is relevant here. Otha Gaia doing a lot of work for them here. It's going to gain them 7 life by the time this game is done. If we draw an untapped land, sure we have to take this Nicol Bolas and hopefully win the game. Were you using that? Do you mind if I, just for a second? Thanks. Hashtag sometimes lucky. Joke's on you, both piles leave you dead. Yeah, the fact that, like, you can just, like, have staying power up to an agent is real sweet. I think I'm supposed to trim Thassa against a control deck like this because I kind of expect them to kill most of my stuff. I think Fblthp comes out against the Narset deck. I want to bring in some disputes. It's pretty clean. Lukka, dispute in, Thassa, Fblthp out. Good lord. Did any of the companions work on Magic Online? Did they write any test cases? Like, do they know what a test case is? It's just... Magic Online is like 2 decades old. The fact is just like... And I'm sure the fact that it's 2 decades old is part of the problem in a lot of ways, but you'd think they'd have some of these things down by now. Hey, by Brace-tastic. Am I a real sub yet? Thanks for the quarter of a year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Wait, they just missed their 3rd land drop? Alright. You're not a real sub till you hit 99 timeouts. It's probably the truth.
These little guys are afraid.
So, even if they have the sweeper this turn, I get to untap and stick Lukka. Ritual Assault over Shatter is interesting. Their mana base must be primarily black sources. I guess that makes sense because they're trying to cast Nicol Bolas. He requires a lot of black sources. Some good friends for next turn. Working our way up to the Honest Agent here again too, which is great. We got some Charming Princes to follow them up with as well. So like they got 2 Planeswalkers they need to deal with. Chandra's killing them slowly. Oh, yikes. Oh, yikes. Oh, that's a really good thought. I could have... Yeah, I think you're right. I should have Lukka one of Chandra's elementals there and gotten guaranteed value. Yeah, I think you're correct. I agree with your assessment. I didn't even think about that line. So next turn we can go Shock, Guardmage, Charming Prince the Guardmage, get set up for Agent hopefully. These Interplanar Beacons punching the clock and going to work for them here.
Let's try this.
Well, that's just rude.
Say hi to my fiery friends. Sloppy technique.
Hiss, Narset, right? Well, we'll bottom those, I guess. Maybe I was supposed to play the second Chandra and kill the Narset. It seems too aggressive. We could steal an Narset, maybe. We'll see what they do. You know, if they like plus this Teferi again, I could Agent, get the Teferi, bounce my Teferi, which is kind of sweet. Or bounce my Agent, sorry. Looks like they're maybe trying to cast Nicol Bolas here.
Exchange for eternal service.
Sure, MK all day. You're right.
I don't have enough swears right now.
No, I am not making this up as I go.
So we'll play another Chandra here. Gosh, we're one mana short of that too. That's so unfortunate.
I'm totally the best. Oh, they're so cute.
Man, who needs an Elder spell? We've got a Chandra, chat. Getcha. Chandra's been real sweet. Good enabler, good against this control deck.
Time to sleep for a week.
Every walker gets a friend to play with. They're a little rough though. A little rough around the edges. Like one of your finest untapped lands, please. I guess even if we miss, we just go like Guardmage, Charming Prince. Curious why you didn't play Prince last turn, because there wasn't anything worth blinking. I wanted to be a little greedy. Do I blink the Guard Mage? I think I just blinked the Guard Mage. I wanted to actually draw a card with this, is why I didn't play it last turn. I'm not going to trade here, because they probably want to play the next one anyways, then it gets Legend rolled. Sure, we could have done the line to play around a sweeper. I guess we technically would have played around Conqueror's Death here, too. That's actually great. Can I borrow that one? Thanks. Appreciate it. Feels magic, man. Feels magic 2020, man. Yikes. Not the way we planned that one. Board games in the background. Yeah, mostly Euro games. These are a shot of some of my favorites. The beacons have, like, what? Gained them, like, close back to their starting total? We did a lot of damage this game. No, Corinne, we've not. Alright. Who do you conquer? Gross. I get to Oath and conquer. So what's our best draw here? Like the third Chandra? Or a Legion Warboss, so we can trigger this right away? Hello, lovely wife. Hello, tiny monster. Did you have fun playing outside? You did? It's nice to meet you. Hello. Do I even play this out? Or do I just, like, wait for something to get them? Feel like I'm probably supposed to just wait to get them. This is pretty likely to draw them an answer, and they, like, have a guaranteed answer coming back. So I think I just pass, yeah. Thank you for food, lovely. Mm-hmm. My teeth, they are sore, chat. You're very sore. Alright, I'm gonna be quiet a little bit for the next one. I'll eat some food real quick. Because we got a few more decks to get through, so I want to get a meal in. Huh? I think I want to leave this to cycle here the way this game looks like it's going. Christy brought me some pasta. I think I also want to wait to play this out. If I want to be able to trigger Winota if they cry. Yeah.
You show remorse, I'll show restraint. That's more like it.
I mean, making gifts on given piles is really easy. You just take the 2 cards they picked and you put them in their discard pile. Yeah.
You never see that coming.
All right, chat. In it to win it. Spin to win. Double Stone Rain. Come on. Come on. Double Stone Rain. Looking for that sweet, sweet double Stone Rain. Hit me, dealer. Dang it. Come on. Come on. I am sad. I am sad.
I learned a bunch of new burn spells to try out. Oh, they're so cute.
Let's slow this down. There goes nothing.
Don't worry, I brought company.
Hey, Midnight. Thank you for the brain insurance sub. I appreciate that. Welcome to Hoaglandia. This turns into Agent of Treachery, right?
Always loyal. That serves duty. Tools of war surround me.
So do I take a land here? Do I Stone Rain them? Do I just take their Conqueror's Death? I think I just take their Conqueror's Death, right?
I've got it.
Order the Pearl Trident. Thanks for the sub gift team. I look at a lot of decks, but so I don't remember exactly, but I think the Knights deck has Winota in it at the top end, maybe. I don't remember exactly. Who turned off sub mode? Yeah. Don't mess with my settings, mods. You're gonna lose your sword and not get it back. Please and thank you. Just actually every time. Just without fail, just every time, just like miss the agent, draw an agent. Just alright, sick. That's fine. We get what, 18 looks on Agent of Treachery this turn? Chandra looking like gas again. Survey says. Alright. We take those. Are we having fun yet? I'm having fun, chat. I'm having fun.
My wild beasts will bring your comeuppance.
No, come back! I didn't take your creatures yet. Come back! I was gonna take your stuff. That's rude. Alright, Aether Gust sounds great. Thassa seems not great. Probably trim a Chandra here. It feels like there's a good chance they're a Questing Beast deck. Chandra's not stellar against Questing Beasts. Leave the rest of this here. Core of the deck mostly intact. Maybe I want Redcap Melee. I'm going to leave it out for now. I'm going to reserve the right to bring this back in. You decked yourself with Agent today. Time to craft some Oracles. That's funny. Mercy! Mercy! Any busted stuff with Sultai or Teamer Ultimatum? So some people have been playing the Teamer Ultimatum in Temur Fire's variations, but I'd kind of be surprised if Temur Ultimatum wasn't win more in those archetypes. I'd be kind of surprised if Sultai Ultimatum has a good home. My Twitter has some good politics tidbits. There just hasn't been anything worth really ranting about outside of the obvious nonsense that's currently going on. And we can visit Blue Devotion with the 80 card companion. What does that card do for the deck? How much longer? This is going to be the last match with this one. We've been going for almost an hour and a half. I'm gonna brush my teeth during the break too, because I just scarfed down some dinner. And we've got 2 more decks at least tonight. If we stay above 2,000 people through the end of the Enigmatic deck, I'm going to add 1 more on after that. Because y'all are great, and I appreciate you being here. Wow, that's rude. Good play, but still rude. Well, I didn't eat lunch. I ate breakfast at 8:30, and then I didn't eat lunch. So. I'm gonna stomp. Oh, need to fetch. I'm gonna stomp Vivian here, and then Winota's gonna hit a Agent of Treachery or a flying creature, and then we'll finish her off. I mean, new formats are always exciting. As always, I like to spin to win, chat. Spin to win. Well, that's disappointing, but expected. Yikes. Blink the Fblthp here. Low variance, skill intensive game, chat. Oh, it's indestructible till end of turn. I forgot about that text. I forgot the thing you get is indestructible, because usually they just concede. Usually they just concede, so like it's not relevant that it's indestructible. I was genuinely confused when like the Charming Prince bumped in there and nothing happened. I was like, wait, what?
Diversity is our greatest strength.
You have Questing Beast, sure. The blocks. The missiest of clicks. Alright, I think I'm gonna start by cycling. Am I gonna cycle this? So I could cycle this, and if I hit Chandra or Legion Warboss, I get an extra trigger. Or I could Aether Gust this, and then these guaranteed kill Vivian. I think that's probably the line. I could play Elite Guardmage as well. Alright. You love to see it. I'd like to attack you. I think I just want your 3/3. Alright, and now that I hit that, I think I'm just going to go ahead and put this into play, tapped, and cycle this. Because I think there's a good chance they showed us, like, Storm's Wrath. They have another sweeper. I don't want to play into that. Are cycle lands worth using in 2-color decks? It depends on the deck, I think. If you're playing, like, a 2-color control deck, quite possibly. Like, I think most control decks in, like, this format and Historic want to play, like, 27 lands at a minimum with 4 fetch lands. Yeah, but then they get to keep their 3/3. I'd rather just have their board be mostly empty. Did you make that? Can I borrow it for a second? And then trigger it to go get another friend? The fact that their creatures that you steal get you more friends is like so great. It's so great. Well, I haven't played them in any format with fetches. I'd expect most 3 or 4 color decks in Modern want 1 or 2 tri-lands, but more than 1 or 2 is not realistic, I don't think. Agents of Friendship. I don't like where we ended up. I think the core that was submitted to this deck was pretty reasonable. If anything, I feel like the weak link in this deck is probably Thassa. Like, I didn't really feel like Thassa was solving problems that I really had in the deck. If that makes sense. I kind of want to go back to having Lukkas in the main deck. I think I would cut the Thassas and a Fblthp and go up a Chandra and put 2 Lukkas back in the main. Lukka upgrading your 4s into Agent of Treachery is actually something that's really sweet. Yeah, so I think this turning either of these into Agent of Treachery is something that I just didn't consider when we cut these. As for like the last 2 slots in the sideboard, I don't know. Could go a couple different ways on those. You could play the Last Dispute. You could play a couple Disdainful Strokes. I think Stroke's very good right now with Gyruda combo decks running around. But as far as main deck goes, I feel like this is likely pretty reasonable. Maybe with regards to the mana base, 6 tapped lands is a little high. But we also don't have many 1-drops, so that could be okay. I don't know, the mana didn't feel too awkward too many times. We put Taijik in. I don't know, Taijik doesn't seem like it solves any problems that we have. Hey, thanks for the 2 months of support, Sent. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I like where this ended up at. Alright, so what are we doing? We are going to dive on into some Mardu Knights up here in a minute. And yeah, this deck actually does. I've looked at a lot of decks recently. This is actually another Winota deck that just has a bunch of some humans and some not human knights. Seems like a neat curve topper that generates value in here. I'm going to hit a quick ad roll, and this break's probably going to be a little bit longer than my normal one, so I need to brush my teeth in addition to flipping all the stuff for the deck over. So probably about new game starting in about 4 or 5 minutes. I appreciate everybody that sticks through the short break. Thanks for hanging out today, folks. Don't go anywhere. We got a bunch more magic coming up still.